Hi, my name is Mauricio Martinez, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'm a partner here at Hawkins & Martinez. We're a small business tax accounting consulting firm located in Longmont, Colorado, and serving the needs of small business here in Longmont as well as throughout the United States of America. So here's the big question for small business. Why be an S-corp? Well, it has to do with tax savings. One tax in particular, and that is self-employment tax. So what's self-employment tax? Well, self-employment tax is Social Security and Medicare. But when it comes to a small business, especially if you're a sole proprietor, and that's what I'm talking about right now, sole proprietor, if you're a sole proprietor, you're paying Social Security and Medicare doubled. And that's why we call it self-employment tax. See, if you were an employee right now, you look at your paycheck, and you'll notice that there's a line item called Social Security and Medicare. All right. Well, that tax that you're paying is actually being matched on the side of the employer. So you owning your own company as a sole proprietor, you are, or an LLC, which basically defaults to a sole proprietor, you are in fact the employee and the employer. So you're paying twice as much. So let me give you an example. So right now we have a wage limit of about $128,400 for Social Security and Medicare. This is in 2018 for Social Security and Medicare. Now, mind you, when it comes to Medicare, it doesn't stop. Medicare will continue, you'll continue paying Medicare tax ad nauseum. Okay, there's no limit to that. But for simplicity's sake, because the bigger tax is really Social Security, let's just look at it this way, and then I'll show you those savings, and then you can calculate all the extra savings that you're going to have for not having to pay Medicare tax on the rest of your earnings. But let's start with this, $128,400 in wage. That's the limit right now for Social Security, okay, in terms of taxing wages. So if you earn up to $128,400, right, you're getting taxed a self-employment tax of 15.3%. So again, let me rephrase that. If you are a self-employed individual, right, you have a sole proprietor, an LLC, you are getting taxed at 15.3% of self-employment. And that comes out to $19,645 of self-employment tax. That's what we call SC tax, self-employment tax. Now imagine if you could cut that in half. In other words, what if you paid yourself a wage of $64,200 and then you distributed to yourself as the owner the other half, $64,200 as distribution? Then you would have earnings still of $128,400, but it would be slightly different looking earnings, right? In other words, half of it would be wage or payroll, and the other half would be distribution as owner of the company. This is what being an S-corp allows you to do. So as an S-corp, you don't have to take everything as wage as you do as an LLC or sole proprietor. As an S-corp, you can actually decide how much of your earnings is going to be payroll as wages and tax Social Security and Medicare, and how much of it will be distribution as being owner of the business. That's the big deal. So here's the comparison. You're looking at, again, if you were an LLC as a sole proprietor, $19,600 for self-employment tax versus if you were an S-corp, it's $9,823, right? That's about a $10,000 difference. So what's the catch, right? I mean, if you're going to save money, what's the catch? Well, there's a couple of things. First and foremost, you have to pay yourself what's called a reasonable salary, okay? So there's some guidelines for that, but keep that in mind. It has to be a reasonable salary. You can't make it so incredibly small that it's unreasonable, if that makes any sense. Okay, so you have also an additional tax return. So as a sole proprietor, as an LLC, your tax return is not that complicated, meaning you have on Schedule C of your 1040, your personal tax return, that's where your business goes, right? On the other hand, when you now have an S-corp, you have a completely separate tax return, okay? And there's a cost to that. I mean, if you don't do it yourself, right? And also payroll fees, because remember, you have to now pay yourself a paycheck, right? So strongly recommend that you go with one of the many companies out there that actually processes payroll instead of doing it yourself. Trust me, it's a pain in the rear end. So the last thing you want to do is be processing your own payroll. I don't recommend it. But if you want to do it, you can. And by the way, some software like QuickBooks actually has an easy way to actually pay yourself payroll. Nevertheless, there's still some work involved. So in any case, there is some cost related to becoming an S-corp, okay? And that cost can be, I'm guessing, between $1,500 to $2,000. Again, this is an estimate because there'll be some things that you can do cheaper. You might be able to find somebody who can do your tax return. Maybe your tax return isn't that complicated, so that you might be able to actually reduce your fees. So I'm going to just basically put it between $1,500 to $2,000 in your additional tax return as well as your payroll fees. Basically, your break-even point is somewhere between $20,000 and $26,000 of net income. So what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. If you're making between $20,000 and $26,000 of net income on your LLC, right, on your sole proprietor, you're either going to pay the self-employment tax to the IRS, right, or you're going to pay extra fees to an accountant or somebody who's going to do your payroll as well as your tax return. So basically, you're breaking even. My suggestion, though, is that if you're going to become an S-corp, there is some work involved. Also, there is an inability to, you don't get rid of it as easily as you can get rid of an LLC. It takes a little bit more work. So if you're going to be above these numbers, then it's worth it. If not, maybe it may not be worth it for you. There's other issues involved personally to you in terms of how much is being put away for your Social Security benefit. In other words, as you know, if you earn a certain amount of money, you get more benefits in retirement than if you don't, right? So that's also an analysis that your accountant should be able to actually help you create. If you don't have one, hey, we can help you with that. So give us a call if you'd like to discuss this more. It's 303-772-1577, or look us up at hawkinsmartinez.com, and you can click on the link there, and it'll actually, you'll be able to even set up an appointment with us if you'd like, and we can talk over the phone, or you can come down and visit us, and we'd be happy to talk to you about becoming an S-corp as well. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you again next time.